If we built New York City in 2025, here's what it would look like. Number 1, why New York City's layout is outdated. Right now, Manhattan crawls at 8.2 miles per hour during rush hour downtown, slower than the average cyclist. The grid system locking the city into this gridlock was drawn up in 1811 when commissioners decided straight rectangular blocks were the most cheap to build and the most convenient to live in. They carved 2,000 blocks across Manhattan from 14th Street to 155th, tilting everything 29 degrees off true north because, well, that seemed fine at the time. The planners figured this grid would handle maybe 400,000 people by 1860, but the population doubled that to 800,000. And they just kept cramming people in. Hills got flattened, streams got buried, and everything natural disappeared under monotonous rectangles designed to sell land faster rather than create livable neighborhoods. Fast forward to the 20th century, and Robert Moses decided what New York really needed was 416 miles of highways bulldozed through functioning communities. His Cross Bronx Expressway alone displaced over 60,000 residents, carving up neighborhoods so cars could move faster while people's lives got slower. Today, despite only 23% of Manhattan households owning cars, the entire city remains designed around vehicles that most people don't even have. Number 2, key problems: zoning, traffic, housing. The consequences of these outdated decisions are crushing modern New York. Over 102,000 people sleep in city shelters each night, with another 200,000 doubled up in temporary living situations. And that's before counting those sleeping rough on streets and in subways. Meanwhile, almost 1.5 million New Yorkers live in overcrowded conditions where families squeeze into apartments never meant to hold that many people. The city's severe overcrowding rate hits 3.33%, more than triple the national average. The housing shortage exceeds 500,000 homes because from 2010 to 2023, housing supply increased only 4% while jobs grew 22%. When people need to work in the city but can't afford to live there, something is terribly wrong with the system. Traffic strangles daily life across all 5 boroughs. Before congestion pricing kicked in this January, 583,000 vehicles entered Lower Manhattan's business district every single day, turning streets into parking lots. The rental vacancy rate dropped to 1.4%, the lowest level since tracking began in the 1960s, meaning for every 100 people searching for apartments, barely 1 unit sits available. Rents have surged 22%. Above pre-pandemic levels, and the median renter now spends 31% of their income just keeping a roof overhead. So yeah, right now, New York is suffering, terribly so. Number 3, modern planning principles to apply. So, here's what we'd actually do. Every neighborhood gets rebuilt around subway stations and bus routes, clustering apartments, offices, grocery stores, schools, and parks within a 10 to 15 minute walk from your front door. Barcelona already pulled this off with their Superblocks program, carving out 400 by 400 meter zones where cars crawl at 10 kilometers per hour, basically walking speed while everyone else gets the streets back. Their Sant'Antoni Superblocks saw car traffic drop 82%, nitrogen dioxide pollution fall 25 to 33%, and noise levels decrease 4.1 decibels during the day. People sleep better, talk to their neighbors more, and nobody's rushing to jump back in their cars. We'd copy that for New York, but bigger. The rebuilt city will follow what Paris and Barcelona perfected. Everything you need sits within 15 minutes of home on foot or bike. For climate, we turn the whole city into a sponge, like Copenhagen did after their 2011 flood caused nearly $2 billion in damage. They transformed 20 green areas into sponge parks that swallow stormwater during heavy rain. One park alone, like Parken, holds 25,000 cubic meters of water when full. The city cut flood risk by 30 to 50% in priority areas, even though they're only halfway through the project. We'd do the same thing across all 5 boroughs, turning every park into a water reservoir, every street into a drainage channel, and every roof into a garden. Green roofs covering 80% of buildings would cool the city by 5 to 7 degrees during summer heat waves, while restored wetlands around Jamaica Bay would swallow storm surges instead of letting them flood the subway tunnels. Number 4, new street grid concept. The 1811 grid dies completely. We're building something that actually makes sense for how people move through cities. Wide boulevards get dedicated bus lanes down the center, with protected bike paths on both sides and tree-lined sidewalks wide enough that you're walking alongside someone without elbowing strangers in traffic. Medium streets mix shops on ground floors with apartments above, where you grab your morning bagel from the bakery below your bedroom. Narrow pedestrian lanes weave between blocks for shortcuts, lined with cafes and benches where people actually sit because they're not choking on exhaust fumes. The grid follows Manhattan's natural topography instead of pretending the island is flat. Every major intersection transforms into a plaza where essential services cluster together, because if your doctor, grocery store, and kids' school all sit in the same corner, you're walking there instead of driving. We'd carve the entire city into super blocks like Barcelona, grouping residential areas into 400-meter squares where through traffic can't enter, but residents, deliveries, and emergency vehicles move freely at reduced speeds. Interior courtyards replace parking lots, filled with play equipment, gardens, and benches where neighbors actually know each other's names. The space currently wasted on street parking becomes protected bike lanes, outdoor seating, and pocket parks with trees that shade sidewalks instead of baking pedestrians and reflected heat from glass towers. Streets get permeable pavement that drinks rainwater instead of flooding sewers, with bioswales running along every block planted with native grasses and wildflowers that filter runoff naturally. Loading zones designated specifically for deliveries mean trucks stop double parking in traffic lanes. Every street becomes a complete street designed for people first, bikes second, buses third, and private cars dead last, when they show up at all. Number 5, transit redesign, regional rail, bike grid. The subway system gets torn down and rebuilt from scratch. Every line runs both local and express tracks, so rapid trains blow past local shops during rush hour, while neighborhood service stays frequent for everyone else. The current MTA capital plan buying 1,500 new subway cars hints at what's coming, but we'd go further, replacing every single system with modern technology that lets trains run closer together safely, doubling capacity on existing tracks. 8 lanes getting communications-based train control marks just the start. The rebuilt system would have this everywhere, with trains that talk to each other and adjust automatically. The Interborough Express, cutting 30 minutes off commutes for 900,000 people, shows what crosstown connections can do. So we'd add dozens more, linking Brooklyn directly to Queens, the Bronx to Staten Island, every borough to every other borough, without forcing everyone through Manhattan first. Regional rail extends to every corner of the metropolitan area, with 19 new stations just the beginning. Trains would reach deep into New Jersey, Connecticut, and upstate New York, with service frequent enough that you check your phone for the time, not the schedule, because there's always another train in 5 minutes. After congestion pricing, bus speeds jumped 3.2% on average, with some routes getting 25%, proving buses move faster when cars get out of the way. Every major street gets dedicated bus lanes protected by concrete barriers, turning buses into rapid transit that matches subway speeds above ground. Number 6, green space and density improvements. Nature gets woven throughout every neighborhood instead of concentrated in a few big parks where you need to travel to visit. Wetlands around Jamaica Bay get restored to their natural state, creating buffers that swallow storm surges and provide habitats for birds and fish that disappeared when concrete consumed the shoreline. Bioswales run along every single block, planted with native grasses and wildflowers that drink storm water while looking better than dead concrete. Rooftop gardens cover every building, growing vegetables, absorbing rainwater, and cooling the air around them, turning wasted space into productive ecosystems that feed neighborhoods. The housing crisis gets solved through density done right. Manhattan's current population could triple if we built at Amsterdam's 5,000 people per square kilometer, while maintaining extensive green space through vertical gardens, green roofs, and tree-lined streets at ground level. Mixed-income housing integrates throughout every neighborhood, ending the economic segregation where rich areas get parks and poor areas get parking lots. Ground floors feature retail, cafes, and community spaces, creating vibrant streetscapes where people gather naturally, while upper floors provide everything from studios to family-sized apartments. The City of Yes initiative, passing last December and enabling 82,000 new homes over 15 years, shows the direction. But the rebuilt city goes further. The new R11 and R12 zoning districts, allowing higher density, become standard everywhere near transit, with 3 to 5-story apartments permitted within half a mile of stations. The 20% density bonus for affordable housing becomes mandatory rather than optional, ensuring every neighborhood includes homes for teachers, nurses, and service workers, instead of pushing them to distant suburbs. Accessory dwelling units become legal everywhere, letting homeowners convert garages, basements, and backyards into small rental units that add housing without changing neighborhood character. The $5 billion City for All investment funding infrastructure and community services becomes $20 billion, building schools, parks, and healthcare facilities in every neighborhood experiencing growth. So density brings amenities rather than overcrowding. Walk through today's Manhattan at rush hour. You're dodging crowds on narrow sidewalks, breathing exhaust from traffic crawling at 4.8 miles per hour, waiting in overcrowded subway stations with Depression-era signals. Over 102,000 people sleep in shelters, another 200,000 double up temporarily, and nearly 1.5 million live in overcrowded apartments. Now, imagine the rebuilt city. Tree canopies shade every street, their roots drinking from bioswales, transforming rain into groundwater. You walk down wide pedestrian promenades to subway stations where AI-coordinated trains arrive within 2 minutes. Your 15-minute commute uses express trains that never delay. Your kids bike to school on protected lanes while elderly parents walk to clustered essential services. Housing abundance makes rent affordable. Your apartment sits above a cafe, across from a park. Green roofs grow vegetables while cooling buildings naturally. The evidence proves transformation is starting. Congestion pricing cut crashes 14%. New York could wake up to this future, one neighborhood at a time.